Okay, the LAPD shoving and being violent against peaceful abortion rights activists. Here's the video.
I hereby declare this is an unlawful assembly, and in the name of the people of the state of California, command all citizens at 4th and Hill, Street, to immediately disperse, which means to break up this assembly. If you do not do so, you may be arrested or subject to other police action.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly. What? That's the thing. You can just do that. You can just make laws because you have a megaphone. That's how it works. That's contrary to the Constitution. You have the right to assemble. You have the right to do this. You have the right to voice your concerns. Okay, this happened last week. These protests obviously followed the leak of the SCOTUS decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. According to accounts, they violently assaulted not only protesters, but also the press and other onlookers who were not actually involved in the protest at all. The LA protests had been going on peacefully for hours on Tuesday when a help call suddenly went out over police radios about 9 p.m. The SOS did not come from LA police officers, but a small group of federal officers with the Department of Homeland Security. They claimed, according to a statement by the LAPD, that they had come under attack from protesters. There's your pretext. They always create a pretext before they justify the context of their violence. Protesters were not the instigators of violence that night. It was reportedly after 8 p.m. when Federal Protective Services, the FPS, which serves as the law enforcement branch of Department of Homeland Security, they intervened in the protest and aggressively drove up and into the crowd, forcing those in the path of the vehicle to move or risk being run over. After driving into the crowd, FPS officers wearing body armor and wielding batons were seen shoving protesters and press alike, demanding they back the F up. When an FPS vehicle would be located several blocks away from the nearest building under their jurisdiction, and why the vehicle attempted to drive past the protest as other vehicles nearby remained stationary is unknown. Minutes later, Los Angeles police wearing riot helmets and armed with shotguns, 40mm less lethal launchers and batons, were filmed assaulting protesters. Let's put up the police chief for Los Angeles PD. That is Mr. Moore. Chief Moore is in charge. The buck stops with him. Let's keep his picture up. Just after 9 p.m., Chief Moore tweeted that the police attempted to communicate, clear and provide dispersal order to the group, and that the crowd began to throw rocks and bottles at the police. So let's go to 9:20 p.m. The protest was declared an unlawful assembly. However, by that point, less than 200 protesters remained. And 20 minutes later, the order was lifted. 20 minutes later, all right? Let's put up a picture of the captain. This is the incident commander for the protest. That's Captain Stephen Ruiz. The captain told Knock LA that LAPD protected the demonstrators' right to exercise their First Amendment right for freedom of speech. The captain suggested that there were instigators that had infiltrated the protest and caused the escalation. It is unknown at this time if any arrests were made or how many protesters were injured by the police. That information is still forthcoming. Following Tuesday night, a spokesperson for the federal police referred questions to the Maine Department of Homeland Security Public Affairs Office. In a statement Thursday, that office said DHS strives every day to protect Americans' freedom of speech and other fundamental rights, and that the FPS is conducting a review of this incident and the actions of any DHS personnel involved. There's more. In its own statement, the LAPD said the department had not requested assistance from FPS during the protest and that its officers had not been working in conjunction with the federal officers who called for help. Let's put up a picture of L. Eric Patterson. He is the director of Federal Protective Service. According to the DHS website, the federal police is responsible for protecting federal facilities across the country. Again, the nearest federal building under their jurisdiction in LA was a long way away from the crowd, okay? Why were they there? Why are they even in the mix? And it sounds like LAPD is getting their story together. Oh, no, we had nothing to do. There was no call from us. We did nothing. We were not involved because they know there was a policy violation somewhere. The reason why DHS is releasing a statement saying we're going to look into this and see exactly if our officers violated the law is because they know there's a policy breakdown here. There's a protocol breakdown here. But listen, that's your office policy, all right? I care about what the hell happened to the protesters. Now let's get to the bottom of that. Damn if the federal police should have been there or not. I don't give a damn. No police, federal or local, should have put their hands on these protesters, period. Once again, we're in this narrative now, us versus the police, community versus cop. Until you start replacing and reforming, you will have this dynamic. You do realize that the trust that has been eroded is your fault. I'm talking about the police. Your fault, because you started. There was a poll done decades ago. 97% of Americans, white Americans primarily, they actually believed in you guys. Who violated that? You did. And as long as you continue to get away with these violations, the trust will continue to decrease.